An ordinary day. In the morning, despite your phone being on silent, you're jolted out of bed by that siren sound. Something feels wrong. There's a single sentence on the screen. Mobilization has been declared. Yes, your phone's emergency alert system activates in exactly these moments. Operators push the same emergency message simultaneously to every phone in the area through cell towers within seconds. You can check this in your settings, whether you're on Android or iOS. All right, you've understood from this notification that your country is at war, but you also need to understand how it got there. The United States of America is a NATO member, so we're all under the same shield, one for all. But every shield has a crack. In the worst case, one of Iran's nuclear-tipped missiles could go off course and land within our borders. Or a strike could hit a NATO installation on our soil, Ramstein or Incirlik. Or a power vacuum opens along an allied border and terror groups try to carve out statehood from the chaos. That's when the War Powers Act kicks in. An operation is launched under the banner of an existential threat, and that drags us directly into a major war. Let's say the worst happens, nuclear detonation. If the bomb lands directly on your position, condolences. But if it falls at a distance, you have a chance. That famous flash you've always heard about, it's real. If you look directly at the blast, your retinas will burn within seconds, permanent blindness, so shut your eyes. Even if you survive the light, a massive shockwave will be heading straight for you. If you're still standing, that wave will throw you like a sheet of paper. Drop to the ground immediately. Pull your knees to your chest. Cover your head with your hands. Even after all that, the blast pressure can rupture your eardrums. Keeping your mouth open equalizes the pressure inside and outside your body, protecting your internal organs from damage. Here's what most people don't know. The biggest killer isn't the bomb itself, it's shattered glass. When the shockwave hits, windows explode inward like bullets. If you're near a window, move away from it immediately. If you survive the shockwave, you have roughly 10 to 15 minutes before radioactive fallout begins. Move rapidly in the same direction as the wind. If you can find one, get into a reinforced concrete shelter at least 2 floors underground. If your city has a subway system, it could be the smartest option for surviving. If you were caught outdoors and managed to reach shelter, strip off your clothes the moment you're inside and push them as far from you as possible. 90% of the radiation on your body is in those clothes. Shower if you can, but do not use conditioner. It binds radiation directly to your hair. Let's say you've done all of this. You found a shelter. You got yourself 2 floors underground. Congratulations. But the real challenge starts now. Food, water. If you rush outside immediately after a nuclear blast, you won't die from the bomb itself. You'll die from fallout, radioactive rain. Radiation loses strength over time. This is called half-life. The first 48 hours are the golden rule. Do not go outside. 90% of radiation is at its absolute peak during the first 48 hours. The first 2 weeks are critical. Experts generally recommend what's called the 14-day rule, staying in the shelter until radiation levels drop roughly 1,000-fold. Even when you emerge after 2 weeks, a mask, gloves, and full body coverage are non-negotiable. If there's a professional hazmat suit available, use it. If not, you can improvise. Packing tape and thick garbage bags. Seal them airtight against your body. A raincoat works too. Fabric clothing absorbs radioactive particles, but smooth, waterproof plastic surfaces don't let the dust cling. Rubber dishwashing gloves are a solid shield against touching contaminated surfaces barehanded. Just seal the wrists with tape. Any airtight, face-fitting goggles will keep radiation from entering through your eye sockets. Diving goggles are one of the most accessible options. And if you don't have a gas mask, wrap a thick, wet cloth or scarf over your mouth and nose. The moisture filters radioactive dust from reaching your lungs. The entire purpose of all this isn't to stop radiation rays. It's to prevent radioactive dust from touching your skin and entering your lungs. Even so, touching the soil, drinking exposed water can still end you. There's a rule in military doctrine, the 7 to 10 rule. For every 7-fold passage of time after the blast, radiation levels drop 10-fold. After 7 hours, radiation falls to 10%. After 49 hours, down to 1%. After 2 weeks, it drops to 1,000th. Now, suppose you've been exposed to radiation. Is there any treatment?
In part, yes. After a nuclear explosion, radioactive iodine spreads through the air and lodges in the thyroid gland through breathing, causing cancer. The solution? Potassium iodide tablets. If you take one just before or just after the blast, your thyroid becomes saturated and stops absorbing radioactive iodine. But under a wartime embargo, you won't find this tablet even on the black market. That's how you might slip through a nuclear threat. I say might because however impossible nuclear war seems, in the world of intelligence and warfare, there is no such word as never. But what if the war isn't nuclear? What if it spills onto our soil through conventional missiles? Things get even more serious. First comes military mobilization, or general mobilization, announced through emergency alerts on phones and live broadcasts on major television networks. All men of military age are immediately banned from leaving the country. And not just them. Restrictions extend to technical personnel the government deems essential. Through the Selective Service Portal, the moment mobilization is declared, your name appears alongside the exact base and command you must report to. Your assignment is based on your civilian profession or the military branch you previously served in. Americans generally don't tend to think much about fleeing from war, but even if you wanted to, you couldn't. The borders are sealed. Civilian airspace is closed. Sea routes are monitored around the clock. If you're caught trying to escape, the punishment isn't death, but it carries severe federal prison time. Every male citizen of the United States of America is legally obligated to serve the nation. That means a naturalized citizen, if he's of military age, must fight as an American soldier. If you own a truck, a van, or a 4x4, the government can requisition it temporarily for military use under emergency powers. The unit you must deliver your vehicle to would be communicated through official FEMA and Department of Defense channels. Everything is confirmed. You're going to the front. But what about your family? The moment a missile or aircraft is detected breaching airspace, an instant alert goes out and your family is directed to public shelters. Subway stations, enclosed parking structures, and the lower floors of certain federal buildings are designated civil defense shelters. During wartime, these are open to the public. FEMA's emergency assembly points aren't only for natural disasters. In wartime, they serve as the first redirection hubs. Many newer buildings have shelter spaces by code, but they're usually used as storage. In a war scenario, clearing them out becomes mandatory. Of course, food and clean water are the most widespread problem during war. Countries try to cut off fuel, food, and healthcare through embargoes. Basic foodstuffs can be rationed. Prices may be fixed by the government. Martial law may be declared to prevent looting. The United States imports a significant portion of its pharmaceutical raw materials and components from abroad. The moment war and embargo begin, supply chains collapse, shipments stop, and existing stocks run dry. Even domestic manufacturers grind to a halt for lack of active ingredients. Every remaining critical medication, painkillers, antibiotics, blood clotting agents, gets redirected from civilian pharmacies to field hospitals and the front. You've settled your family in safety. You've gone off to fight. What awaits you inside? First thing, your phone is taken away. In wartime, a signal means broadcasting your coordinates to the enemy's targeting system.
If you haven't served in the military, you'll receive rapid training. If it's been years, they'll refresh your rusted knowledge. Weapon assembly, taking up positions, essential equipment. You'll be racing against minutes, because on the front, there is no margin for error. There's no, "what should we eat today?" dilemma here. You eat whatever there is, sometimes a tin of rations, sometimes hot soup. But under an embargo, you'll understand the value of every single bite. And above all, you'll be fighting a psychological war. What's happening to the family you left behind? Does the city still have power? You wait, without knowing. The front isn't just firing bullets, it's enduring that uncertainty. You count the days for it all to end. Every single day you pray that those politicians finally reach a deal. And one day, it comes.
The war is over. The country is saved. The flag is flying. But when that dust settles, the scene you'll find will make it hard to celebrate. When you return home, it won't just be buildings that are missing. It'll be the neighborhood culture, the familiar faces, and perhaps pieces of your family. The scars war leaves on buildings can be repaired, but the void it carves into people's souls, that takes generations to fill. Your currency is weakened. The market shelves are still bare. The wounds of the embargo keep bleeding. The bill for war isn't paid only in lives. It's paid in years of poverty that followed. The country you saved won't be the country you left. Alliances have shifted. Borders have been redrawn. And at the end of the day, you'll realize something. Wars are started by those who will never set foot near a front line. Giant corporations fill their coffers, but the price, always, every single time, is paid by those whose dreams were left half-finished. Those who lost themselves on the battlefield. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. See you in the next one. Until then, take care.